I really hope that the recording got that. Just the shark right up. Do you got games on your phone?
It's my new ghost.
It's our fourth co-host. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. My name's Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host Ella, and our new third co-host. Welcome to the show. What are we naming him?
Oh, I don't know. He needs a name.
What's a fun San Jose shark? Jeff.
Jeff! Oh my god, he matches Jeff the Shark on my arm! That's Jeff the Shark! We've got Jeff and Jeff too! Jeff squared!
The thing is, Jeff Skinner's like injured right now too.
That means he's got time if he wants to have an interview.
Hey Jeff, hit us up.
Hey Jeff, I have a tattoo named after you.
Oh, well, the thing is we are trying to go into this with a positive attitude because we are going to talk about some Leaf games that weren't so positive for the most part. There are some nice things we can say about them, but like, I think this is the point where we're halfway through the month of November, and I do think this is the part where you start to get a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
And maybe this team isn't it. And, everyone can throw their suggestions of hat into the ring of like what's wrong. Yes, the Leafs are dealing with a monumental amount of injuries right now, but like so are a lot of teams currently, who are still capable of like pulling out wins. So like you can't blame it on the fact that you don't have Matthews and Anthony Stolarz is hurt, and now Brandon Carlo's hurt, and now Nick Waugh, well, he took a maintenance day, but I don't know if that was injury or not, or Scott Lawton's hurt, Chris Tanev's hurt. Like, you can't sit there and blame that. That can be a contributing factor, but like, you also have to look, is it the coach's fault? Is it just the system's fault? Is it the personnel? Like, is it the way this roster has been built? Is it that's the issue? Like, where lies the problem? And I think where we can start, we're currently right now, and yes, there's an injury to Anthony Stolarz, but I also think that, like, I don't think he's the problem either, because I think he was overworked prior to his injury, which could lead to just the fact of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be playing a guy 6 games in a row when
maybe.
But the problem is the Leafs were forced into that position because they had Caden Primo as their backup. He couldn't stop a beach ball. And then as soon as you got the option of Dennis Hildeby, it's like goaltending was no longer an issue. And I'm not even going to say, people are going to sit here and be like, oh, well, Leafs didn't win their first game back with Joseph Wool, which we will get into a little bit later. I do have a stat that no one's talking about this. The Leafs goaltending isn't an issue for the Leafs. The problem right now is that they are just allowing too many chances, period, like against them. Shots, scoring chances, however you want to describe that stat. I'm going to just use shots on goal because I was like, I'm not going to dig into natural stat trick right now. I'm sorry. Like, maybe I'll do it for Thursday's episode. Who knows? But the last time the Leafs have allowed 30 or more shots on goal. Let me rephrase that sentence. The last time the Leafs haven't allowed 30 or more shots on goal was their win against Utah. Coincidentally, that was the last game they won before losing 5 in a row.
I don't know anymore.
So obviously, I don't think goaltending is the issue. No. I think it's a defensive issue. But then you have to wonder, is the defensive issue, is it a personnel problem? Perhaps some of it, which you've claimed Troy Stecher off waivers, who isn't, the biggest name, like, isn't a, show-stopping name for sure, but he at least what you get when you get Troy Stecher. I think his performance for the Oilers in the playoffs proved that of like, hey, when, and I think that's what the Leafs need a little bit more, is just that underlying current of like, when guys go out there, you know what you're getting from them. It's why, like, especially, like, you can have these really showy, really awesome star players that are fantastic, and you can have other guys who also can put together, a good play. But if you don't have a group of players where, like, day in, day out, when they go out there, you know what you're going to get from them, it's going to be really hard for you to play in a way that's not predictable against your opponent, but predictable for yourself. I think that's which I hope that makes sense. But I think that is why David Kampf was valued so highly by a head coach like Sheldon Keefe, who really prioritized a little bit more creativity with the way that the Leafs would generate scoring chances, is that you had that underlying current of, what David Kampf is going to give you. That, like, when he goes out there, he is going to give you a really strong shutdown player who's solid on the PK and is good at winning you faceoffs, which is also probably why David Kampf started so many overtime periods for the Leafs through Sheldon Keefe's tenure. A little bit even with Craig Berube as well, but that's probably wise, because when he goes out there, you're going to get a shutdown guy who's going to play really smart defensively and is going to win you faceoffs. He may not give you the scoring, but that's what you have other players on your roster for. While as inflexible as David Kampf was in his role, especially at his cap hit, which is why he was placed on waivers at the start of the season, which is why there was that whole conversation about him and where he fits in the Leafs organization, eventually resulting in him terminating his contract, and why actually it was very easy and very quickly for him to sign a new contract with the Vancouver Canucks at $1.1 million, which is a much more acceptable cap hit for what David Kampf gives you. I think the Leafs would gladly take David Kampf back at a 1.1 cap hit. They're not going to at this point, but it much more favorable than 2.4.
Oh yeah.
I just think the Leafs aren't getting that reliability from enough players in their roster right now, which is why a pickup like Troy Stecher off waivers is huge for Toronto, because you know what you're getting with him when you put him out there on your third pairing, which is where he was in practice today, taking the spot from Philippe Myers, who you don't know what you were going to get with him. Well, you kind of could figure out you weren't going to get something good, perhaps, because the Leafs often didn't, but you at least know with Troy Stecher what you're going to get. Also helpful that he is a right-hand shot, which the Leafs are missing with injuries to Chris Tanev and Brandon Carlo. So overall, a solid pickup off waivers for Toronto. Another name that you should watch for Toronto, because he is a player who was just put on waivers today, who has like Brad Treliving favorite guy written all over it, is John Beecher, who was just placed on waivers by the Boston Bruins. 6'3", 200 pounds, cap hit, pending RFA with a cap hit of $900,000. Bottom.
I'll take two.
Bottom six center, which, depending on the timeline for Scott Laughton and, potentially what we could see from Nick Watt is an option. I think, just watch this space. They might send Quillen down tomorrow, claim Beecher. All I'm saying, though, is I don't think John Beecher is going to go to Providence. I do think he's going to get claimed either by Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver is a name out there, Edmonton, especially with injuries to now Kirby Dach and Alex Newhook, like pretty long-term injuries to both those players. Montreal is looking to fill some holes in their roster right now. But talking more about the Leafs, I got to say, the game against Boston on Tuesday, I was going to say November 11th was a Tuesday, Anthony Stolarz and Austin Matthews both left this game hurt. Stolarz did not last after the first period, which it didn't, there wasn't like a moment where you're like, this is where here. Like, you could not find where it was like, oh, he tweaked something, he's now hurt. he just didn't come out for the second period, which a lot of people are like, oh, he's been pulled, because he didn't have a great start to the game. So it's like, he's been pulled. And then he just like never came back to the bench. And it was like, okay, this is starting to be suspicious. And Matthews, after following a hit from Zadorov, and then like a big hit from Zadorov that wasn't the cause of his injury, I do believe it was him going back after Zadorov. If you watch his hit on Zadorov after Zadorov's hit on Matthews, you can see him kind of like stop up a little awkwardly, where his like legs, like his knee does something. I really hope it's not something with his knee, because oh my god, if it's something with his knee, but
no, I can feel my knees.
I know, I'm sorry, but I think it was that hit. Update on Matthews that we haven't seen. He has not skated since Boston, which is almost a week ago. It'll be a week tomorrow, from when we're recording this on Monday and when this is going up on Monday, but it'll be a week tomorrow that he hasn't even been on the ice, and he's supposed to be sooner than Chris Tanev's timeline.
Dude, we are falling apart.
And I tweeted this out, but we've hit the Marlies in a Dream roster like a month early.
Oh yeah.
This is usually like a late December, early January issue when we're like, so who's next? Alex Nylander NHL contract time? Like at this rate, Leafs are going to be signing fans to PTOs come Christmas.
Our time has come.
Hey, Brad, I can skate backwards and I'm right-handed.
Hey, Brad, I can skate, and I can stop a beach ball, so...
Call us up. Like, they're going to do the thing, you know, at the end of the season, sometimes where they're, like, strapped for a goalie or something, like a backup goalie, so they're, like, pulling some poor U of T guy in the middle of finals season. And stick him in on the bed. Like Jet Alexander. They're going to Jet Alexander.
My God.
They're going to Jet Alexander, some poor U of T kid, during, like, the finals before the end of the fall semester instead of the winter semester.
Oh, dear me.
I really hope not, actually, because that would mean, like, an injury to goaltender. But, but like, I have really little notes about these games because they felt very much the same. Like there wasn't really anything to stand out about the losses of like, you know, this is why they lost. It was the same thing that the Leafs have been struggling. Like all 5 of their losses in a row, it's the same thing where it's like, well, goaltending wasn't the issue. It's not like you were getting saves. You just were allowing way too many shots. Way too many. If you're allowing 5 consecutive nights of 30 shots in a row to your goaltenders, well, yeah, they're not going to be able to stop everything.
No.
Every single night. Like, that's an arduous task. So there's the issue. But, like, you can't... Is it a system thing? Is it a personal... It's really hard to figure out right now, because of the fact that you also have guys like Chris Tanev who's a big shot blocker. But like, just because a guy blocks a shot out in front of the net doesn't mean that you still didn't allow the scoring chance. Their zone exits are brutal. And because they can't get the puck out of their own zone, they're then aren't able to create scoring opportunities of their own. There was so much that I noticed, and I especially noticed this in a couple of goals in the Chicago game, but also you could say the same about the game against LA and the game against Boston, where it's like the Leafs being unable to get to clear the puck out of their own zone and to allow these really extended periods of time for their opposition to maintain puck possession in the Leafs zone and like in the other team's O-zone, I should say, but like allow those extended periods and it leads to longer shifts, which leads to tired defenders, which leads to then more prone to making mistakes, more prone to not getting to the right position, which leads to just then the other team being able to score easier. And there were so many times where it's like, you have to, like, I'm literally sitting watching the game and I say to my TV, because, you know, sometimes I'm watching the game by myself, but I say to my TV, you got to get the puck out, clear it. They don't clear it. They get close, right? They're like 3 feet short of the blue line. They're like so close to getting out of the zone, but they don't quite manage to do it. And then the other team is then able to continue their O-zone time. And it's like a couple more passes later, goal. And it's like, if you just cleared the puck 30, not even 30 seconds, if you just cleared the puck 15 seconds ago, we wouldn't be in this position, which is what you can say about a lot of goals, but it always seems like it seems to be on these really extended O-zone times where this is the issue. It's like, why are you having trouble getting the puck out of your own zone? Where is that? Why is that an issue? And it's like, is it a systems issue? Is it a personnel issue? What's going on here? I also have Dennis Hill to be, after Stolarz left the game, Dennis Hill to be for the game against Boston and for the game against LA was your number one goaltender. And he played like it. He has the best save percentage for the Leafs right now. He's not the only one with save percentage over 900 because Joseph Wool with his game against Chicago has a 905. But Dennis Hilsey does have the highest save percentage among Leaf goaltenders right now.
Yes.
Which, like, good to know we have something here with Dennis Hildeby. While a very small sample size, it is also like he played 4 games, started only 2 of them. And I did also not create my own stat, but I did my own research to build my own stat. In his 4 games that he played, so it would have been his coming in halfway against Boston, his start against Carolina, his other half game, or 2/3 of a game, I should say, in Boston, and then his full game against the LA Kings. He faced 125 shots.
Jeez. They're putting him to work.
Which, even just me saying that, like, in 4 games, and he didn't start all 4 of those games. It wasn't like he played 4 complete games and faced 125 shots. He only started 2. So I really should have done what the metric is for that for time on ice, like how many shots he's facing per 60, because I feel like that would have been insane, or just like how many shots he's facing, like per minute or whatever, like in X number of minutes, how many shots is he facing? But you could probably work it out where it's like just over 3 games worth, like 3 and 10 minutes, I think 3.5 a period, I believe, if you look at it, because he played 2 full periods against Boston. I think he came halfway in through the second in the first game against Boston last week. But just like, he looks really good. He looks really good.
Yeah.
I think there's only been maybe 1 or 2 goals that like you would have wanted back if you're the goaltender or even just the other team. But like 1 or 2 goals that you would have wanted back over the course of 4 games shouldn't have lost you all 4 of those games.
No.
Yeah. I will also say Toronto's best defenseman right now is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's all over the puck at both ends of the ice. He's contributing on scoring chances and goals and scoring goals of his own. He really is starting to look like an older, slower version, because you have to keep that into mind. He is perhaps not the fastest skater in the world, but he is starting to look a lot more like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who was in Phoenix with the Coyotes. When he was getting Norris votes, I think a lot of people were afraid he was going to, be the Oliver Ekman-Larsson that was in Vancouver, and he's not. He's really thriving this season, and he is by far Toronto's best defenseman right now, currently. Like, maybe you can make an argument for Chris Tanev. Chris Tanev, unfortunately, is injured and has not played a whole of a lot. He's missed more games than you would like for a guy like Chris Tanev. I will say Toronto's also, they're playing too slow. And that's kind of a thing that's plagued variations of this team, where their roster starts to get a little bit older. And I get it. Older rosters do tend to be slower, but that's not always the case. Like, you can still have older guys who are fast skaters. And you can, add younger players in, and that's why it's important to keep your assets. like picks and prospects. But like they're not good enough of a heavy forechecking team to make up for how slow they are because they are too slow to play high skill. Like the teams that you see that play these really high skill games or style of hockey, I should say, tend to be on the faster end of teams. They tend to be very fast. I think you can like I don't want to say kind of look at Edmonton because it's really just like the Connor McDavid show sometimes where it's like he's going out there being like, look at how fast I am, and then watch me slow down the game in front of you, but everything else is moving at the same speed. Like, you know that scene in I think what is it? X-Men? Is it X-Men that I'm thinking where like it's the like mansions blowing up?
Yeah, I think it's
X-Men. I haven't actually seen the movie. I've just seen the scene like
no, I know what you mean. But you know when it's like I know but I don't.
It's like I can't remember even what song it is.
No.
Like it's
like,
some 80s pop track,
it.
right?
If
I go X-Men slow-mo scene, I'm sure it's probably gonna come up. Yeah. Days of Future Past, I think. Oh, Sweet Dreams. Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics. I was gonna say it was some 80s pop track in the background, and I couldn't remember which one. But that scene, that's kind of what it's like sometimes to like watch Connor McDavid play hockey. He is Quicksilver. The exploding mansion is the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on fire with my metaphors.
You are.
Oh man. But yeah, like they're not playing fast enough. And I think when you can see this, yeah, I will say also with the LA Kings game, it was a good game for you to be a guy from the GTA playing on the LA Kings because they contribute. There was a player from the GTA who, or at least Ontario, I should say, but probably also the GTA if I looked into a couple guys, but a player from Ontario contributed on every single LA Kings goal in that game against LA. With Quentin Byfield scoring the OT winner because of course he did. Yeah, they have 7 players from Ontario, which is the highest in the NHL.
It's crazy.
So you knew the Leafs were never going to win that one. There's too many hometown kids. And then you also had Joel Edmondson, former Leaf. Who else is on that? Well, Corey Perry, who's just not a former Leaf, but
he's Corey Perry.
Yeah, thorn in the Leaf side.
Yep.
I'm trying to look up. Hold on, who else? Oh, Cody Ceci, former Leaf.
Yeah.
Trevor Moore, former Leaf. Famously Leafs legend. I'm trying to like see if I can do this just by like remembering guys. No, can't. Quite a few former Senators though. But yeah. I will say also John Tavares. This was originally a note that I had that just said John Tavares, because of how well he's been playing. But then I added to it that just says his line with Nylander and Nyes was finding the most success, and then they were split up against Chicago. So like, what's the point?
Yep.
I will say like the lineups. When you take Matthews out of that lineup, you then have to move John Tavares up to your top line. And then your lineup looks like, hey, that's a top line, and then 3 third lines.
Yeah.
You lose your second line. And the Leafs kind of have had a habit, at least under Craig Berube, of icing essentially 2 third lines. It's like you can have a 4th line, but like like, you know, a lineup, like, you don't really have anything besides a top line when the lineup that what the Leafs posted and like what you see from media members from like warm-up rushes and stuff, and then what Sportsnet puts on a graphic isn't the same because two lines got flipped. Right? Like, that's what happened against Chicago, is that they like flipped the Max Domi Nick Waugh lineup on the like the of like, oh, this player should be your second line. Like, it was like one of those things. Anyways, Leafs 5-game losing streak continues in Chicago with a loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. I will say it was Joseph Wool's first game of the season since returning from his personal leave. He looked great. And this isn't even me being biased. Like, if you listen to the show for long enough, I think even it takes one episode, you know how much we love Joseph Wool. And this
just
isn't
just a little bit.
This isn't even me being biased, and I'm sure you're going to say the same thing. He played well.
He looked great.
He looked great. He was doing like really strong puck movement, not puck movement, but really strong movement through the crease, which is something he's really good at. He made some really great athletic saves, but also had like again, he's a very foundationally like technical goaltender, but he does have the athleticism to make those big leaping saves if he has to. That's just been part of his game. But like at the end of the day, he's very technical. He is very textbook. He is very program. Like, you can tell he came through the program. He's very program goaltender. Like, there's this clip of, I think it's got to be I think it's now 2 seasons ago, from an LFR from Steve Dangle, where he like mines out like Joseph Wool's like position. I think it was like comparing Wool and Samsonov probably, so it's at least 2 seasons ago. But it's him going like very robotic movement of like back and forth, very strong positioning. Whereas like Samsonov, as good of a goaltender as he was at some points for the Leafs, and you know, in other teams that he's played for since, is very much all over the place, doesn't know where his posts are. But I think that I think about that clip all the time when like talking about how strong of a foundation like technique wise that Joseph Wool has. And he also like talks really a lot about like when he's asked questions in media scrums about how he's going to, you know, go about a game or how he's preparing for a game or whatever. He always talks about like which is usually when he's like returning from injury or returning like he was from his personal leave this season. But like, he always talks about like he has his process, which like for us normal people who aren't NHL goaltenders, we think process, oh yes, process through like how you're going to get ready for the game, like how you're going to stretch, how you're going to, you know, how you're going to warm up, how you're going to like prepare yourself mentally pre-game. But like he talks about his process as something that continues throughout the game. Like, in like that he has his in-game process of how he goes about playing goaltender, like in-game scenarios, which is very interesting and actually like very cerebral for a goaltender. Like, I don't know, you know, it seems very robotic. Would love to pick his brain about that though, I will say.
Oh yes, please. Please, Joseph.
But yeah, like the thing is the problem was, as well as Joseph Wool played in as many good saves as he made, it was another like 30-shot allowed game by Toronto. And the problem is with, you know, the 30, it's not just like, oh, you allow 30 shots and a lot of them are from the outside, a lot of them are low quality. A lot of them are quality chances. Which I think is a bigger issue than just allowing 30 shots. I don't think we'd be sitting here and being like, yeah, Leafs are allowing 30 shots again for, you know, the 5th straight game. If they were like all chances from around the outside, or they were from a distance, or like they were from a distance and, you know, there was no screen in front or whatever, like low quality scoring chances. They were very much high quality scoring chances. They were in close in front. They were shots with a screen in front. And it's like, you can't be allowing those.
No.
And there were so many more that like hit posts or hit sides of nets, and where it's like, why are you allowing that guy to get a stick on the puck? Like, they very effectively shut down Connor Bedard, but that's about it.
And it's like, there is more than Connor Bedard on the team.
Now especially.
Yeah.
Compared to last season, like if you shut down Connor Bedard, you could very easily win a game against Chicago Blackhawks. This season, no, you cannot. They are a better team than people I think we're gonna give them credit for at the start of the season. They are currently, actually, if we can look this up, I can pull up the stats. There we go, NHL app. Not stats, we can pull up the standings. They are currently first in the wild card in the Western Conference. So they are actually fourth in the Central Division, but also that Central Division is stacked. Like at least at the top, because Colorado right now has 1 regulation loss. They have 13 wins, 1 regulation loss, and 5 OT losses.
Man,
that puts them at a points percent of
doing?
They have a points percent of 816, which I don't think is disgusting enough. They're on a 6-game win streak. Their last 10, 8-0-2.
Oh man, what are we doing?
Their goal differential, 30 plus 31. They also, I will say, I think, and people are gonna there are gonna be maybe people who follow the Colorado Avalanche more closely than I do, who when I say they also probably, I would say, are one of the luckier teams when it comes to injuries. Like I haven't heard of any major injuries impacting their roster so far this season. People are gonna be like, Emma, actually, this guy's been out for weeks and you just haven't noticed. But like, I don't think so. Not to my recollection. It's like not like they're missing Nathan MacKinnon like some teams are. Not missing Nathan MacKinnon, but missing their version of Nathan MacKinnon. Like the Leafs are missing Matthews, Ottawa's missing Tkachuk. Parek's been out, but he's not Nathan MacKinnon. But like, Quinn Hughes missed a large chunk of time with Vancouver. I mean, we're going to talk about Jack Hughes later.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I have been stockpiling my jokes about Jack Hughes all weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
But yeah, like, I will say, and again, I probably should look at NHL Edge for these sort of stats, but I do think it was one of Toronto's fastest games of the season, especially in the third period. There was multiple sequences in the third period of this game where, the game against Chicago, I should say, where it's like, oh, so this is the Toronto Maple Leafs that I recognize. This is this fast-paced, high-skilled team that's really good at generating a lot of chances really, really quickly to kind of keep the opponent in a spin cycle. Like there was, I think, a solid maybe 10, 15 minutes, I guess probably 10 minutes. It felt like 10 minutes of game time. So like half the third period where it was just back and forth. And it was so fast and quick paced that I was like, oh my God, this is great. I love that we're watching this. This is fantastic. And like they were actually able to then generate chances. Funny how that works, eh? Crazy. And it's not like there were any guys on the ice who couldn't keep up. Right? Like you weren't watching and you're like, oh, so-and-so so far like away from like they can't keep up to this faster play. No, they can. They have the ability. Like it's not like this team is built to be slow. Yes, this team is built to be big, which tends to mean they're a little bit slower. But there are big guys who can skate fast. Bobby McMann, for example, I think last season, and probably even so far this season, if you looked, is probably, I think using NHL Edge stats, is one of the fastest guys. I want to see if I can... I want to see if this is something I can look at, like... So apparently Connor Dewar has the fastest skating speed. Actually, can I look up Bobby McMann? And like look at his NHL Edge stats from my phone, or do I have to do that through the app? I think that's something I have to do through the website. That's unfortunate. Never mind. There is something about there where he is one of the fastest guys and generates the most like rush chances or something or like speed bursts above like a certain metric or something or other. Just Bobby McMann fast, and Bobby McMann is a big guy. Right? And so it's like, this is not necessarily a fast team. Now, if you're a friend of the show, Cody, you could be like, well, I know exactly what the problem was, and that was that there was no Brandon Carlo in this game.
Indeed.
There was no Brandon Carlo in this game. He has been now placed on LTIR, but was hurt and missed the game against Chicago. Easton Cowan was back in the lineup for the game against Chicago. He was called up with the injury to Austin Matthews, being a little bit more lengthy. I think he had a great day. He did take a dumb delay a game penalty for puck over the boards. That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things where it's like, you are a 20-year-old kid, you're going to make that mistake. There have been players with far more veteran experience who are way older than you who have made that same mistake. Justin Hall.
I
did it again.
We can't go a single episode without Justin Hall catching strays.
Exactly.
It's fine. It's cool.
But yeah, I will say, and like this, they lost, and I think if this wasn't the 5th loss of a 5-game losing streak that the Leafs are currently still in and hope to break tomorrow against, who do they play? St. Louis. Another terrible team.
Please. I can't carry on like this.
Bad versus bad. If they're like, then maybe this loss against Chicago like wouldn't feel as bad as it does, because you could look at it and be like, well, the Leafs played better. It was maybe, despite the loss, one of Toronto's better played games. And now I'm not saying, hey, so that means we can blame it on Joseph Woll. No, because they still made mistakes. They still allowed way too many scoring chances. It just, there were parts of this game, and it was most of this game, where it was like, this is actually a better team than what we've been watching. Which kind of further proves how bad the team was that we've watched the last 4 losses. Prior to that. Now I'm going to read off, there's some Saturday headlines, which if you follow me on Twitter, you will see that every week I do post the Saturday headlines.
Yeah, you do.
For Hockey Night in Canada, just a text version of them, because so I realize not everyone wants to sit there and listen to Elliot Friedman. I've also been told that this is actually a very impressive skill that I possess, to type these out live. I very rarely will pause them. So, but yeah, Saturday headlines. One of them, it was mostly about the Toronto Maple Leafs, but one of them was that tension continued to grow in Toronto. That there's continued tensions in Toronto, and people are waiting for something to happen. Elliot Friedman believed that Toronto does not want to trade futures. This includes Easton Cowan, which makes sense. They want to make hockey trades, which is a roster for roster player, and are currently evaluating what on their roster has value. Will not include core players. So you're not looking at a trade involving Austin Matthews, involving William Nylander, John Tavares, Morgan Riley. Probably this filters down into goaltenders as well. They won't be looking at trading either Anthony Stolarz or Joseph Woll. But Elliot also doesn't believe that Rasmus Andersson is a match in Toronto, which makes sense because Calgary will not trade with Toronto, especially after Brad Treliving left Calgary for Toronto. Like, they're not going to do it. We saw the really roundabout way that we had to get Chris Tanev, which was wait for him to be traded to the Dallas Stars and then acquire him. Toronto also, like we talked about, claimed Troy Stecher off waivers. If they couldn't get him, which would have been hilarious because it means he would have had to be claimed by the first 3 teams on the waiver wire order, because the Leafs are currently 28th in the league, meaning they are like 4th in the waiver wire. Henry Thrun would have been the player that got called up. Both Tanev and Matthews were on that road trip to we're with the team in Chicago, I should say, because it wasn't really a road trip, it was one game, but Tanev not close. Matthews was a maybe for this week. The fact that he has not skated, and it's like he has not skated at all since he got injured against Boston on last Tuesday, looks likely. But Chris Tanev's timeline is behind Austin Matthews, which is important. Also, as well, some conversation about, because we mentioned David Kampf, who signed a 1 year times $1.1 million contract. David Kampf signed with Vancouver. Montreal was also in on him after the injury to Alex Newhook, which, if you haven't seen the video of that, looks brutal. He like broke his ankle. But Vancouver made the best pitch to Kampf. Those were all the ones that were like kind of important that I'm not going to then talk about in 2 minutes when I make fun of Jack Hughes. But Jacob Quillen was also called up today with Brandon Carlo placed on LTIR. Leafs still have seven defensemen with Troy Stecher called up. But Philippe Myers is the extra defenseman. Is the extra defenseman on this one. This was, I will say, I will read out the lineup because it's ridiculous, and I have complaints about it, but this was the lineup at today's practice. That is the projected lineup for the game tomorrow against St. Louis. The top line of Robertson, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes, Domi, Cowan. Then you got Michelli, Quillen, McMahon, Dakota Joshua, Steven Lorentz, Calle Yarncroke. And then the D pairs are as follows: Morgan Riley, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Simon Benoit, Jake McCabe, and then Dakota Mermis and Troy Stecher. My thing, make the kid line. Do it.
Like, I'm not being
switch Domi and Quillen. Put Domi back with Michelli and McMahon, where that line is fine and passable and playable. But just like, you're in this deep. Do it for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
Make the kid line. Do it.
Like, you're at this point. You're playing the way you are.
At least give people something fun to watch, which would be 3 young players. 2 of them technically rookies. 1 of them basically a rookie.
Just do it.
Do it.
Like, what? Are you going to lose the game? Oh, no.
You're also like playing St. Louis. You're also playing St. Louis, who is without Jake Neighbors now, to at least start this road trip. I believe there's multiple other players. I believe there's also other players who are hurt on St. Louis. Here, let me pull up their Puckpedia page, which I think is the easiest way for me to see injuries. Yeah, there's an injury to Jake Neighbors. Well, okay, so Torrey Krug is like dead. Not dead, just very injured. Like, their goaltending is Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer. Like, here's the thing. The Leafs have the best than St. Louis Blues. Blues are not playing well, going to be without Jake Neighbors to start this game, for this game Tuesday against Toronto, because it's to start St. Louis's road trip. They're not playing well.
No.
Just throw the kid line out there and it happens. Like, let the players have, like, I get it, it's like the players aren't, like, the team isn't playing well, so you don't really want to, like, let the players have fun, but, like, give something enjoyable for the fans to watch. I will say, though, there are, like, $95 tickets in the 300s for the game on Tuesday that I've been eyeing, that I'm like, what if I went?
What if you
So if anyone wants to go with me for the game tomorrow against St. Louis, it is Toronto's Pride Night.
Okay.
Hit me up. Or I will just go by myself.
Do it.
I will say there's a notable absence. There is no Nick Waugh in the lineup. Unclear if that was for maintenance purposes or if he's hurt. We will see. Who knows? Scott Lawton did practice in a full contact jersey as well. Today's practice, which is big news for his return from injury, I should say. Some other news across the league: a couple extensions were signed in the past week. Adrian Kempe signed an 8-year, $10.625 million extension with the LA Kings. That is another name off of the free agent list going into this offseason. Probably the biggest name that I think people were expecting to be potentially still available. off the board. And a lot of people are going to be like, there's going to be no one left. And I have a reason for that. Why we're seeing so many guys like stay with their teams and re-sign and sign these extensions is because top players, like with the cap going up, teams, especially competitive ones, have more space than they have had in the past couple of seasons, or at least with the flat cap, than what we're used to, where we're kind of gotten used to players kind of moving all over the place because of the flat cap, or changing teams at least. Because of that, top players don't have to then go somewhere else and leave their competitive team to chase the cap space or chase the money that they are after, because with the increased cap space, teams just have that money available to them now, especially competitive ones, to be like, hey, we'll re-sign you and we'll stay competitive because you'll be here. I think also as well, some of it is this is the last season under this current CBA before the new CBA fully kicks in next year, where teams are allowed to sign players to eight-year deals, which I think is a big motivation for a lot of these players to get it done, of like, hey, so if you re-sign with us, you can sign for 8 years or even 7 years if you want to. But like 8 years, but like if you leave us in July and you go sign somewhere else, if you leave, you are only able to sign for 6. Like, can't even like leave and go sign for 7. You can leave and only go sign for 6 because of the new CBA kicking in, where like players who aren't on their team's roster as of July 1st and, become free agents and re-sign. Essentially, like the re-signing contracts, there's a word for it that's used in the CBA that is not coming to me, but those players, it used to be 8-year max deal, 7 years for players not on the team they're signing with, who weren't on the team they're signing with roster as of July 1st, is now changing to 7 and 6 years. So those 2 years are kind of big for players who are, heading into potential UFA years. But yes, Adrian Kempe getting locked up for less than 11 is a huge deal for the LA Kings. That's a big part of kind of being a leading piece. They have a lot of young players that are really exciting to watch. They have quite a few young guys, but like he is kind of that leading piece of, probably once Kopitar retires, he probably will be named captain next. It's either him or like they'll wait a couple of years and then give it to Quinton Byfield. But yeah. Another extension that got done that I personally love, but also hate because I'm a Leafs fan, but I love the contract for both team and player, is Shane Pinto signs a 4-year, $7.5 million extension with the Ottawa Senators. Love that. That is great. It sucks that it's for an Ottawa Senator, but the fact that you get your top 3 centers of Stützle, Cousins, and Pinto signed and done for the next 4 years at least with Pinto's deal, because it's like 4 years after this one, I should say, for less than $23 million.
Insane.
For like just in around $23 million, I should say. There's some like weird decimals and stuff that happens there, but is huge. That's huge for a team that is young, that is just entering their competitive window and has had a great start to their, well, not great, has had a great start to the second month of their season, I should say. They've had a great November so far, essentially is what I'm getting at. But yeah, it's great. It's great for the player as well. He gets some stability as well, which is great after kind of the roller coaster of the last few seasons for Pinto, with some issues with signing a contract, like signing an extension and that contract struggle. And then like, if you remember, like it was like before his suspension, it was probably about 2 years ago, I guess 2 seasons ago, that off season before his suspension, there was a lot of questions of like, will the Ottawa Senators be able to re-sign Shane Pinto? Like that was an issue. Like his contract was heavily debated and very much up in the air. He didn't have a contract for most of the summer. And then when he got his suspension, his 41 game suspension, that then essentially gave the Ottawa Senators the leverage they needed to sign him for less than what he should have been getting paid. So he earns his money. The team gets a great deal on a player that's become a very valuable piece of their core and has been playing amazing the past 2 seasons. And It's just great. It's a great contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many different ways I can say that it's a fantastic contract for Shane Pinto and for the Ottawa Senators. I hate it because I'm a Leafs fan, but also at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's such a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It's terrible, but like for us, not him.
Yeah. I guess the final bit of news that I have, because there might be more, but I really, whatever. If we miss something, someone will bug us about, hey, you didn't talk about this, and we'll talk about it next episode. But the Jack Hughes freak injury. So this happened on a Thursday night at a team dinner.
Yes.
This happened. Sorry, Leafs are posting stuff for Pride Night.
Gay people?
Yeah, and also Morgan Riley and Scott Lawton.
Oh, yay. Oh, hi, Morgan. I'm going to enjoy watching that in a little bit. I love how we're both just like...
Sorry, I'm making jokes.
Because you're very funny.
Hilarious. But yeah, so Jack, I also was trying to find the Saturday headlines in which I have the full quote from Elliot that has the details of his injury. But yes, on a dinner, dinner on Thursday, a team dinner, Jack Hughes had suffered from a freak injury that required surgery. Now, the only thing, when it says like required surgery, no, when it said required, no, he did sever a tendon, which does require surgery. But I will say there was a thought of me of like, did he just need stitches? No, he like severed a tendon in his pinky finger due to a freak injury at a team dinner, which according to Elliot Freeman, the best description of it was he slipped and fell and cut his hand on some glass. Which I said that as a joke, that he slipped and dove hand first into broken glass. And then turns out I was right. I had like a list of things. I had a list of things where I was like, this is pot, because there was not a lot of details on what the injury was. I had a list of things that I was rolling with. I was like, he was shucking oysters and like sliced his hand. He was sword fighting with champagne sabers. He was playing the knifey game, you know, when you like take a knife and you stab it between your fingers.
I'm if anything too familiar.
Did you stab yourself with a knife playing the knifey game?
Yeah. Yeah. Very well acquainted with it. It's fine though. Still got all my fingers.
Jack Hughes almost did not. But
yeah.
I will say it's kind of like what did he like? I'm trying to figure out what he did, but also this is me finding out that you can cut your hand that bad, like can cut your finger that badly with a piece of sharp glass, which maybe I shouldn't be surprised by, but like I've seen, well, this year, this summer, I should say, my dad's junior assistant cut his finger very badly with a chainsaw and did not cut his now it was his index finger, which is a thicker finger than your pinky, but luckily did not cut any tendons. But there was a worry that he might have done damage because it got him pretty deep, and it's also a chainsaw, which just tears your skin apart, unlike a clean cut with a piece of glass. But he was still like, you know, out, I should say, a considerable amount of time, just because like he couldn't do anything besides drive a cart around. Because his finger. I will say, apparently, for Jack Hughes, though, he will be reevaluated after 6 weeks. And there was, which is less worry than the immediate reaction, because there was the immediate like worry was, will he miss the Olympics? We're into day, whatever. Are we less than 80 days now to the Olympics? I think so. Or 88 days or something like that. We're like,
it's not long.
Yeah.
I'm
We
excited.
are not the Summer Olympics. 81 days. So we're almost within the 80-day countdown. 81 days until the Olympics. We are less than 3 months, I guess is probably the better way of putting it. We're less than 3 months to the Olympics, which is very exciting. I love the Olympics. But I think if the outlook is, hey, he's, potentially his return is in that 3 to 4 month range, could Jack Hughes miss the Olympics? Which would suck for Team USA. Huge win for Team Canada, but would suck for Team USA and would suck for Jack Hughes and not being able to go. And all because of, some freak injury at a team dinner where, it's something stupid, right? Like, that's probably the worst part is, like, I've had people, like, I know people who have, like, cut their hands badly, like, washing knives, like, in like, a sink and, like, hospital stitches, the whole ordeal, and like they're like normal people who aren't NHL players with the potential to go represent their country at the Olympics, and like that still sucks. So I don't know, I just like, man, like I think the fact that he's okay and the fact that he's probably not going to miss the Olympics, then I did jump at that. That's I did jump at that. But the fact that, like, I think we can then make a little joke about the fact of, was he playing the knifey game at the dinner table?
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him.
The story about, slipped and fell and cut his hand on some glass.
It's like, oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, man. But yes, I think that's all I have. I don't know if you have anything to add. I'm like double checking. I'm like, oh.
I don't think so.
Ottawa Senators have now added Thomas Chabot to their injury reserve.
Dropping like flies.
Yeah. He's been added to LTR. With that being said, I think that's all from us. We will be back with a very, very special episode on Thursday. A very special anniversary episode. A very special birthday celebration.
Oh, it's our anniversary. Oh.
So make sure you guys tune on Thursday and do not miss that one because it's very special. It will be very special. Do we have special guests planned? No. Sorry, just us. But
we have a special guests.
What's his name going to be?
Ooh.
Justin Hall, because he's an octopus and throwing octopus on the ice in Detroit.
Yes.
My mind is large.
For context, I went to IKEA and I got some. I got the octopus and the shark teddy.
My mind is large.
It's Justin. Think of all the books you could throw.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode. In the meantime, you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's fourth with the number 4 TH, so you never miss another episode. And maybe see some fun stuff this week.
Fun anniversary bits and bobs. Ooh.
Yeah, perhaps. Who knows? But also, if you miss the two of us between episodes because you think we're absolutely hilarious, you can follow us over on Twitter at 6cleaves for Ella, at Paraby1 for myself. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back on Thursday. And in the meantime, reluctantly, I'm going to start maybe switching it to the Raptors because they're like 8-5 and second in their division right now.
Yeah.
Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go.